We have seen darkness. We have seen poverty. We have seen abuse of our children, disrespect for our women, unemployment, insecurity, early deaths, typhoid, malaria, and so much evil in our society. Now, it is time to witness something different. Arise, Nigeria. Shine, for thy light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Job creation, quality housing, quality health care, liberation of the oppressed, empowerment of the poor, enablement of the disabled, protection for the weak, defense of our rights. www.duquay.com. New nation. Born 11/1/11.
My fellow Nigerian citizens, my name is Charles Duquay, and I'm the chairman of Project New Nation, as well as the leader of the Youth for the New Nation movement. Like majority of you, I was born in Nigeria, in Akure, Ondo State. However, in the past 14 years of my life, I've had the privilege of living in the UK, the United States, and in Canada. While these countries are beautiful and represent the dream place for me and my two sons, and we've obtained citizenships, the issue remains that I'm still Nigerian, and there'll be no other place I can truly call my home but Nigeria. If Nigeria is all I have, I will only be responsible to my children if I continue to sit back and watch my beloved country make no real leap towards development, civility, or peace. This is the reason I stand up today with hundreds of thousands of others to lead the most pragmatic revolution anchored on brain and not brows towards the rapid development of this country. It's been 52 years since we gained independence from the British, and we can look at the report card to see where we truly stand among other nations in the world. There are 193 member countries in the United Nations. Nigeria is the only country where people pay a year to 2 years upfront to rent accommodation. Nigeria is one of the only countries in the world with 70% unemployment, meaning 7 out of 10 of the young people who graduate each year cannot get a job anywhere. With more than 15 government policies passed on agriculture in the past 20 years, we have seen Gary, our most staple food, grow from 14 cups for 1 naira to now 30 naira per cup. Nigeria is one of the only countries in the world without any real access to reliable emergency relief. Nigeria ranks number 3 in the world in the amount of people locked up in prisons. Yet the criminals are outside while the poor and oppressed account for the millions inside holes most people won't even put their dogs. Our road network remains one of the worst on earth, accounting for deaths each year through accidents. Our environments remain ever so polluted, leaving our life expectancy in the hands of fate. Nigeria is one of the only countries in the world without a functional credit system. One of the only countries in the world without a venture capital program, and where banks do not lend to spur up economic activities but to the rich. This country does not have any student loan program. We still remain the only nation on earth people rejoice when power is regained for a few minutes. Insecurity remains the norm. Our women remain less than second-class citizens. Our elderly are uncared for. Our villages abandoned. Our cities overpopulated. And our image so terrible that we cannot attract any real foreign direct investment in a nation more promising than the United States in terms of return on investments. When it comes to leadership, those in authority have promoted corruption over integrity, and our value system inferior to even that of the termites. We need a new Nigeria. We must create a new nation. This movement is not yet another talk. It is not another protest. And it is certainly not designed to be another selfish plot to enrich some persons to the detriment of others. This movement is anchored on the most important catalyst for true development and a healthy economic environment, which is the power of the private sector. Our problem as a nation has been our overdependence on government and the extreme concentration of power and faith on one entity. Hence, at this point in time, we are no longer asking but doing. We are not hoping but dreaming. And we will no longer wait but work. We have structured the new nation creation process to be a combination of injunctive ventures, which are highly innovative life-enhancing solutions, introducing new values such as integrity, hard work, and patience, as well as investments in various nation-building projects across all the 36 states in the country. It is also important to truly fight for the poor, oppressed, and the less privileged, which we will do by sponsoring millions of new charities across the country. My fellow citizens, I must tell you this today. We are extremely privileged, my people, with the President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. For the first time in 52 years, a government that has called for private sector response to the nagging issues of Nigeria's development. This president means well for our people. And this call for private sector active participation in the shaping of our nation is what we are now responding to with real actions in 23 critical sectors. It is time to do something and make Nigeria become a better country, because it is easy to sit back and criticize the administration. It is easy to complain. It is easy to cause chaos and wait for another Messiah. But my fellow citizens, if we do not join the president at this time in creating a new nation out of our beloved country, no matter who we elect, our problems will persist. We have seen so many great government policies since independence lie waste and make no impact because we do not have efficient private sector response to them. Those days are now behind us, because only a combination of government policies and efficient private sector response will bring about a new nation and rapid development. The programs we have outlined for the new nation creation process and as response to the numerous government policies are so many and so impactful for us all as citizens. For instance, in response to the administration's policy on 35% affirmative for women in every sector, we have created Women in Oil Corporation, an indigenous oil company with technical expertise help from Canada, to ensure that women who become members get financial support from the country's booming oil and gas industry. In response to the lack of monthly income support for millions of our citizens, we have created LECHI, an automated financial database that gives millions of people abroad, philanthropists, and even governments access to meet our nation's poor and provide help to them. Digital divide between our dear nation and the rest of the developed world is enormous, and too many billionaires have been created in countries such as India through IT. Hence, we are responding to this administration's policy by creating No Dropout, where we give the average Nigerian the option to buy a computer and take time to pay it off. Thanks again to this administration's commitment to better education of our citizens, we have created ITE as a private sector contribution, and will give every child in Nigeria access to free computer, train them on contributing to the economy, and most importantly, introduce a student loan program just like they have in the US, saving parents from the headache of university funding for their children. That is not all. With our incarceration rate the third highest in the world, and millions of people in our dirty and God-forsaken prisons, we are responding to this administration's desire for the triumph of the rule of law by introducing Global Defender and Project Justice, giving access to legal help for millions of our oppressed and marginalized citizens, introduce a criminal record database to reduce repeat offenders, and work with the administration to correct the poor legislative measures that cause our prisons to be populated with Nigerians that no one can speak for. With the astronomical increase we've had in the cost of food and millions of our citizens going hungry each day, we have created Sister Chi to deliver staple food door to door to Nigerians at very affordable prices through integration of our Farmers Club program and mechanized farming support from our offices in Canada. We will ensure that the problem of the average Nigerian will no longer be hunger during the tenure of this president's administration. To reduce crime and increase the amount of citizens in the middle class bracket of our society, we have also created Easy Builder, a program to release home ownership loans so our citizens can get homes with 30 years payment plan. We've also created Car Connect so the average Nigerian can get account credit and take up to 4 years to pay off the cost, just like Americans do. With 70% unemployment in our country, job creation is paramount to the new nation creation process. And we're working with this administration on so many initiatives to create employment for our citizens and put millions of our young people to work. This administration's commitment to rebranding Nigeria will take a different turn from the former. We will focus on changing the value system of our citizens by introducing virtues such as integrity, patience, diligence, and compassion. Nigerians will no longer be known as liars and fraudsters, and we will begin to value the neighborhood teacher over the criminal with a jeep. With 2 million charities serving Americans 300 million people, and less than 500 serving almost 200 million people, it is time to liberate and empower charities so that our people can get help when in need. I promise you, before the Vision 2020 timetable is over, Nigeria will be known as the country without beggars. My fellow citizens, let it be known to you today that it's time for you to stand up and say enough is not truly enough. It is time to stand like black Americans during civil rights, stand like Indians against the British, stand like South Africans against apartheid, and make Nigeria the true giant of Africa and the beacon of hope for the developing world. It is time for change, true change. It is time to empower the poor. It is time to liberate the oppressed. It is time to create jobs. It is time to renew our image. It is time for the power of the private sector to complement government policies. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and God bless the new nation.
I was one of the people that has been criticizing the administration of the president until I listened to the chairman explain that the lack of private sector response is the reason why there has been no progress. Now I am no longer criticizing but contributing.
As a young person, I now see hope and a future for the first time in Nigeria. When government policies are matched with efficient private sector response, we will definitely now begin to make progress and move forward as a nation.
All these solutions coming from the New Nation movement will truly solve so many problems for the average citizen. This is the real meaning of change.
I ask the youth to join this movement so we can work with the president to make Nigeria a new nation.
Finally, we can begin to reap the benefits of this administration.
Honestly, God bless Charles Dugbe and God bless our president. Good luck, Jonathan.
Yes! Let's make Nigeria a new nation.
We can all make Nigeria a new nation.